Hey, 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 what's up, fam? It's Rev T in the building. Tuesdays with Tawana. Yes, this session is pre recorded. I am not available to record on tomorrow. Please know that I've already voted. I took advantage of the early voting, so I am not available for other reasons, but I definitely wanted to post, um, to share, to invite you to engage outside of this live space. It's been a long month. It's been a long month when one is embodying both breast cancer and no, not embodying. Let me change that. Right, one who has been diagnosed with breast cancer and has experienced domestic violence. It tends to be a long month, not necessarily traumatizing, um, but deeply felt, uh, cathartic, grateful at the same time, like all of these things happening at the same time, and looking forward to the beauty that comes out of it. So I thought I'd stop for a moment and share in this moment, and I look forward to seeing your comments and seeing you live again on next Tuesday. But for now, let's rock with this platform for a minute. Yes, it is Election Day, and it is my hope and my prayer that all of you who are able, that you have gone out to vote, or you are on your way out, or just coming back in, or catching this on the podcast, because we know we stream this on various platforms, on Facebook Live, on my YouTube channel, and also on the podcast. So we try to build community, one Facebook Live, one YouTube, one podcast, one moment, one story, one bit of laughter, one shed tear, one opportunity to just be in community at a time. So let's get at it. Let's get at it. So today is Election Day. And today is a day where there's a lot of angst. There may be a lot of angst. There may be a lot of anxiety. There may be, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to cast my ballot or not. All of those feelings and all of those things coming up. We've had a tough 4 years, and I just wanted to share this with you. This entire moment is not going to be about the election. I'm hoping to bring some sense of healing, some sense of peace, some sense of grace, some sense of breathing that reminds us that we are alive, breathing that gives us a moment to just be in the moment, to um, catch some semblance of sanity, if you will, in this insane world we are living in the midst of multiple pandemics, in the midst of Black beautiful bodies still being killed by state sanctioned violence. And it is election day, and we have an opportunity. It's not perfect. All of the right pieces and players are not in place, but we do have an opportunity to start a major change, to start or continue this major change with this movement that is going on, centering Black lives and Black experiences, so that we know how to center another who has been marginalized or oppressed in one way, shape, or form, or dehumanized. We have an opportunity to make this happen so that after this, we can continue this movement so that we are informed voters. And if we are going to change the system and dismantle a system that was not meant for us to begin with, whether it was the beginning of the two-party system to the writing of the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. All of these things just were not for us, not by us, and not for us. So if we are to make a change, that change begins, it has begun. And I am hopeful and confident that the outcome of this election will be different than the last 4 years. I am confident that we are learning to come together to galvanize as a community, especially the Black community, where we will come together and dismantle systems that weren't built for us, to build new systems, to build new, just, egalitarian systems, understanding the power that we have, understanding the divine power that we have, understanding that not all folk are going to jump on this beautiful, liberating bandwagon. Not all folk that look like us, thinks like us, or is for us, for the Black diaspora. We have seen that with those that thought that they could negotiate with a narcissist and a sociopath. We have seen money talk. And unfortunately, bullshit didn't walk. It just continued to just manifest and stay right where it was. So we've seen this happen. And I am a believer that we have seen this happen. And because we have faced it, we have acknowledged it, we have named it, we can do what's necessary to change it, right? We can do what is necessary to change it. We got to name those things in order to heal it. And I don't know, I've been on so many different broadcasts, beautiful broadcasts, and I talked about how you treat a broken leg is not how you treat a wound or a cut. Um, it's not how you heal brokenness from inside or some layers of trauma, right? It has to be treated differently. And in order for it to be treated differently, we've got to be able to name that thing in order to know how to treat it. So I hope, beloveds, that outside of this election season, that we are always thinking about election season. We are always thinking about judges. We're always thinking about questions and ballot measures and propositions. We are always thinking about the legislative session within our various states. We are always thinking about voting in those midterm elections. We are always thinking about these things and asking the question, how does this impact me as a Black woman, you as a Black beloved? How would voting yes or no impact me in the end? We're going to be informed voters, and with that, we are also going to build community. Being informed voters, whether it's building another party or crossing party lines and coming together, because if you hurt, I hurt. If a beloved's child has been murdered, that's my child, right? We're supposed to do this in Ubuntu. Ubuntu is I am because you are, therefore I am. So how can we stand idly by and acquiesce and just talk about peace when there is no peace? We got to take some action in order to make that happen. So my concern, as we continue to move forward in this nation, being diagnosed with breast cancer it's not easy. I'm still in the process of healing. I have my ups and downs, and tomorrow I'm not available because of one of the routine measures to make sure that I'm healing and I'm on the right track for healing. And that is not afforded to everybody. It's not afforded to folk who have to make a decision whether to eat or go to the doctor. Or everything is measured on your credit. So, do I go to the doctor and um, accrue these insurmountable bills, and then I can't get car insurance, and then if I can't get car insurance I can't drive my car, and then if I take the chance to drive my car, because how else will I get food for my family? Or when we were in-person school, how were my children going to get to school because there are no school buses? And so you see how this just snowballs and this continues to just manifest in ways that are disheartening, and demeaning to our community, right? So, or having to make a decision to go to a particular hospital that historically used to dehumanize Black bodies and use their cells without permission, which is saving lives still to this day. And I don't see a building named after a Henrietta Lacks. I don't see a name of a building named after a medical building. And I don't know of every medical institution across the country, but what I have seen thus far, buildings are usually named by people who donate large amounts of money. And it's time that we acknowledge and center the lives of those who have been unjustly impacted by violence and dehumanization and disregard for human life. I guess that's what dehumanization is, right? So as we move forward, I hope that we can continue to build communities. And in the midst of building those communities, I hope that we can experience joy. Like everything, my hope is that everything is not always so get at it, work, work, work. We need to offer ourselves some semblance of balance. So as hard as we work, is as hard as we play, is as hard as we rest. And if we do that in community, that can actually happen, right? Because we talk about grinding, we talk about securing the bag. Absolutely, as long as we secure in that rest, as long as we secure in that play, and that play might be game night with the family at home. That play might be, sitting down and watching a movie, a favorite movie that the family loves, or cooking dinner at home and having family dinner when COVID is over, right? So creating what play looks like. Play doesn't necessarily mean, going to an island somewhere when we can't afford it. Some can't afford it, not everybody. And if you can afford it, go to an island. I would always travel to LA because I needed to be close to water. I needed to be around water, right? Because water is life. Water gives me life. Water is healing. Water is one of those elements that none of the other elements can touch. Not the wind, not fire. Water is it, right? So, and drink your water every day to stay healthy because our body is comprised of mostly water. So it would make sense that our bodies need to be hydrated. That's my little public service announcement. But, just thinking about living with breast cancer and living with what is deemed a terminal disease. And I'll say this again because this came up recently on someone's post, and the word terminal in our communities oftentimes means death, and that's not what it means. And I'm so grateful that the late Amy Durfee West taught me this when I was first diagnosed, and not to think of it as a death sentence. Terminal is that you are at the top stage, like there's no other stage to go to, so it stops there, right? But I think one of the other analogies that I used in one of the broadcasts were it stops there, but it's also a beginning, right? Shifting that narrative to terminal, to being, yes, this is what I have, this is where I am, and this is what my life is going to look like. Yeah. And for some that it's not easy. I'm by in no way, shape, or form am I saying that it's easy, but I am saying that it's possible, that you can look beyond your diagnosis, that you can build community. When I moved to Denver with no family, no family, like blood family. And then Eric came after me, but I had no family. And when I left Denver, I had an amazing community of family, friends, business associates, sisterhood, all of that. In the 9 years, that stuff just didn't happen, all of a sudden. It grew into this beautiful community from different lenses, from different experiences. And it was so beautiful. Um, and so I don't take that for granted. And I also think about those who don't have community, who don't have family members, or like my adulting, beautiful adulting children that take good care of me, especially during this pandemic and the sacrifices that they make for me. Um, I just have no words, but at the same time, I think about those who don't have that, who don't have people to go to the supermarket for them because not every single thing can or will be delivered. Or how do we get sun on our melanated skin when we can't even go out? And even if it wasn't the pandemic, there are some people that aren't mobile, right? It's hard for them to get around. And if they don't have family members or friends or neighbors that are looking out for them, then some go hungry and some are alone. And that's tough. I think about that a lot whenever I have an opportunity to go to the grocery store or pick up a prescription. I send some love in the air for those who are unable to do that. Um, I send love to those who, I'm home, and there are times when it's just tough. It's just tough when you don't have other people around you day to day. So think about those folk and think about those challenging times that not everybody has the same experience. But being able to meet people where they are so we can journey together, no matter what leg of the journey that we're on. I'd rather that than to be fighting or, going head to head with my Black beloveds. I'd rather us come to a place where our destination is the same and we might go about it different ways, but there is some common ground that we should recognize. The honor and the respect, the divinity in us, the shared divinity in us, and to be able to move on this journey. If you're in it for, building humanity, if you're in it for loving unconditionally with unconditional positive regard, if you're willing to love on a Black beloved who may just have a different lifestyle than you, but they're still a human being. And who are we to dehumanize them? We have enough of that going on in our world, the dehumanization of Black beloveds, perceiving our skin as a threat or labeling us in ways in which we are not. We are resilient, we are beautiful, we are beyond what this world could even measure. But we have to know that, beloved. We have to know that. And even in the midst of this diagnosis or any other diagnosis for those who might be watching or listening, it is looking beyond your diagnosis and seeing life, seeing yourself in the future, building community, opening up, sharing your story. I share my stories so that others will be encouraged to share their stories, and they may be able to live differently and live life fully and live life beyond their diagnosis or whatever their situation might be, and then building resources to then move out of that said situation or move through that said situation and come out victorious, right? Just maybe, that's my hope. Hope has two daughters, anger and courage. St. Augustine is the person who originally said this, but I learned of it from Dr. Bozak, who was very instrumental in dismantling apartheid. And he said, quoted, Hope has two beautiful daughters, anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and the courage to ensure they don't remain that way. So I have hope. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I thought it important to come online and record this, even though I am not available. Because on election day, I want to leave you with a semblance of hope and to let you know that I love you. And I do this because I love my community. I love my family. I love my family. I love those who I pass by in the street. And I just want to share this hope with them, so that we can know better, live better, do better. Um, yeah, that's what I got today. So as we get through election day, keep breathing, keep breathing, and keep reaching out to beloveds as we try to build, or we know, not try, because we either do or not do, right? So as we build community together, loving on one another with unconditional positive regard and supporting one another, and hopefully we can come together to build this system that is actually for us and by us. We can do it. We can do it. We've been through a lot. Our ancestors are calling us forth to pick up that baton or the mantle and to keep pressing forward, breasting forward, pressing forward. I crack myself up. It's different recording this and not having people on the side pop up on the comments and stuff. So I just have to crack myself up, right? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the smile, keep hope alive, keep dreaming, keep looking forward, keep imagining, keep being the beautiful selves that we are. And I look forward to talking with you and building community and seeing your beautiful names pop up on the side of my screen on next Tuesday. So, this is Tuesdays with Tawana, your host, Tawana, aka Rev T, curator. This is what I do. I do this for me, selfishly, and it's okay to be selfish and take care of you. And I do this for you because I love you and I see you and I want what's best for all of us as a community. Keep building, keep rising. I'm out. Later.